Okay, guys, let's talk about some off-season stuff. We had this LeBron, Rich Paul thing today with the player option. Is it a nothing burger? Is it an actual burger? And then DeAndre Ayton just got bought out by the Blazers. We also had like Lonzo to the Cavs. We got Sexton to the Hornets. We got some things. But let's start with this whole LeBron thing. Where, look, this is definitely not the first offseason that we have seen LeBron putting pressure on a front office, right? But there's a whole lot of convos. There's a whole bunch of could the Cavs trade for him and all this stuff. And by the way, LeBron has a no-trade clause. I'll just start with Cleveland, okay? Besides the fact that I think it's difficult to imagine the Cavs wanting to shake up their core for 40-year-old LeBron, even with how good he still is and all the history there, the Cavs are in the second apron by a good amount of money. And so imagining LeBron there is a complete nightmare of big contracts and good players moving, where basically anybody besides Mobley or Mitchell would potentially have to get moved just to make that work. And then it's like, how much of your roster are you potentially gutting if you're Cleveland for however many seasons you would actually have LeBron, even if he is still awesome? And by the way, you would have to try to navigate this Cleveland, where it would have to be more than just the Lakers in the deal, while not having that many picks to trade either. So, okay. But, hey, if you want to imagine it, it would certainly be cool if that somehow was in the cards, LeBron and Cleveland again. I've also seen the Knicks brought up. I mean, this one is pretty much either it's Cat for LeBron or it's more than one good player being moved from the Knicks on a roster that already has depth problems. So that one also feels tough to find an agreement on. And also similar to the Cavs, the Knicks just don't have many picks to deal if you're trying to imagine multi-team stuff. Those are the two teams I've seen people bring up the most with LeBron. I'm sure there's been discussions about other teams that I just haven't seen. If you force me to make a prediction, I think he's still going to be with the Lakers. And as far as putting the pressure on the front office, what moves could they really do? I mean, we all know they need a center. And yeah, we'll talk about the possibilities of Ayton there in a second. But especially now with Dorian Finney-Smith potentially being gone, there's like some Rockets news with him because he opted out of his player option. If the Lakers have to trade anybody who matters to acquire a center, then I fear they could be losing too much, which is why you're looking at smaller salary guys, which is a lot of the reason why the Walker Kessler rumors with the Lakers continue to be there. But by all accounts, the Jazz want a lot for that dude. Understandable. And of course, as all this is happening, the most important thing with the Lakers is Luka enjoying everything around him. Now we go to this DeAndre Ayton buyout, where, as of me doing this, I don't think we have the details on whether it's like a stretch or whether it's, I don't know how the buyout is constructed, but he had a $35 million contract in this last season. The Blazers just said, we're good on this one, dude. And I guess they just assumed that they wouldn't be able to find a deal for him anyway on his expiring. They did just draft Young Hansen at center, which everybody was surprised he went that high. The one thing I've heard about him is he's a good passer. Besides that, everybody was like, wait a minute, what? And so it makes room for him and Donovan Clingan, where I'm guessing Clingan now can be your starting center, and the questions with him are more so with offense and stamina. The rim protection is 100% there. And he definitely had the Blazers fan base this season, whereas, I mean, we all knew the situation with Ayton. Like, we knew he was not the long-term center for these guys. And as far as how I'm feeling about Ayton nowadays, where I'm definitely lower on him than when they did the deal that took him in. Like, I remember I was doing the whole, well, I think it's a good idea to bet on Ayton and all this stuff. Look, DeAndre Ayton is overall fine, but frustrating day to day. Because we all get it with this guy. Sometimes he looks like a beast with inside finishing, and maybe the fadeaways or the hook shots are going in enough. Other times it's just malaise. You think he could be giving you more, but he's just kind of not. Even if the stat line will still be like 15 and 10 on decent enough efficiency. The one number I've always looked at with Ayton in his career is the free throw attempts. He was at 1.5 free throws per game this past season. His career high is 3 per game. I mean, the hope of him just being this physical force who just draws foul after foul, I just don't think it's going to happen. But still, there's a lot of worse centers than DeAndre Ayton, and now he's going to be on a way cheaper contract for whoever his next team is going to be. Probably some type of mid-level, because there's not many teams with cap space. And then defensively, we'll see. You know, again, he can fill in minutes for you at center on both sides of the floor. Anyway, is he going to the Lakers or is he not, right? I'll just say this. Seeing Lakers Twitter deal with D'Angelo Russell day to day for a few years there was funny. I think with Ayton, it would be the exact same thing. Night they love him, he gets 15 rebounds, he has a huge defensive stop at the end of the game. Another night he sets a bunch of weak screens for Luka, misses some floaters, kind of floats around, finishes with like 7 and 6. But he's definitely better than Jackson Hayes. Again, all of that stuff doesn't feel as bad when you're paying him less. And maybe, just maybe, the guy on that Suns playoff run could still be in there. But whatever, we don't know where he's going. We'll find out when we find out. We did get some extensions. Randall as well as Naz Reid are coming back. Yeah, this was the next part of the Cat trade. I mean, Randall and Naz Reid's salaries combined for a little bit more than Cat's salary this season, I believe. They got to get younger at point guard, and they drafted Rudy's potential replacement at some point. Now, has Nikhil played his last game with the Wolves? Yeah, there's a decent bet there. And then as far as Jabari, with Brooks and Jalen gone in the KD trade, that opens up more minutes for Jabari, as well as keeping Şengün for less than the max makes it easier for this type of contract. And also, you just traded for KD. What are you going to do? Not give Jabari the deal? Like, you're going for the title right now. I mean, his team defense, it helps you. The rebounding helps you. If he ever becomes the shooter that we thought he could be after his 1 year in college, then that's a hell of a player. And if he doesn't, still a good player. Lonzo for Okoro. Lonzo's an expiring. Okoro has 1 more year on his deal, so they get out of the money 1 year earlier. And they also have the possibility of Lonzo being able to do more for them than Okoro could, right? Where Lonzo, I mean, I suppose if you want to debate who's the better one-on-one defender, there could be either answer there. But as far as getting into passing lanes, getting blocks coming out of nowhere, that type of stuff, and then turning those into transition opportunities, kickouts after or whatever, Lonzo can give you way more of that than Okoro can, right? It all depends on if he's healthy and how close can he get back to Lonzo from a few years ago. Like, if he can, then he can be that real shooter. I mean, he was 40% from 3 on like 7 attempts a game. That's a better shooter than Okoro is. I mean, Okoro's percentages are good, but they're typically just wide open corner threes. Teams still just pretty much leave them open, especially in the playoffs. And also, of course, with Lonzo, like, he can keep the chain moving on offense, right? He can attack off the catch. He's going to make some awesome passes. Like, he'll hit Mobley or Allen for these quick lobs after driving off the catch from Mitchell or Garland. And, of course, he can play with either one of those guys because the defense is good. So we'll see. If he's healthy, then great. If he's not healthy, then okay. For them, they still get out of the money. It's not as if Okoro is nothing, okay? Like, he's still a real defensive player who will give the Bulls some minutes here. But yeah, like, the Bulls not getting a first for Lonzo, which they could have at the deadline because I believe it was Marcus Smart's money. They could have taken him on, gotten a first from the Grizzlies. They didn't do it. And now that, 30 games of Lonzo, Caruso, Levine, DeMar, they did not get a single first-round pick for any of those guys leaving the team. And then we go to this Colin Sexton Charlotte Hornets where Nurkic is going to the Jazz. I thought Sexton would have a better market than this. The Clarkson news, I'm not surprised by. They definitely waited too long to deal him. Sexton in Charlotte, I mean, okay, he definitely brings them a competitive energy. He'll make threes. He'll drive at the rim like a madman. Can certainly operate off the catch when LaMelo kicks out to him. There's just going to be some lineup stuff to figure out here when you have most of your significant players either at the same positions or pretty close to the same positions. It's not inherently a bad thing, but it's just something to figure out. It does feel like Trey Mann could get iced out here. Yeah, LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Con Knipple, Colin Sexton. Will this team ever be healthy? I don't know. Will they be a good defense? I also don't know. I mean, you got Josh Green, you got Grant Williams, and then you have this kid they just drafted out of Creighton who averaged like 2.5 blocks a game in his last year, and he played all 5 years of college. He's like 7'1". I don't know. He went in round 2. And then as far as Nurkic on the Jazz, well, as of June 29th, he is on the roster. Did anything else happen? I don't know. The Nets have like 100 rookies going into this season, so that's nice for them.